I'm Ann Simmons in the newsroom of the Los Angeles Times. Anthony Weiner has been at it again. Sexting, that is. The former congressman was forced to resign in 2011 after he admitted he sent lewd photos of himself to women on Twitter. Now he admits to similar conduct again. Weiner is running to become mayor of New York City. Opponents say Weiner should withdraw from the mayor's race, but supporters say his behaviour has no bearing on how he would govern New York. Meanwhile, his wife, Robin Abcarian, is standing by her man. Joining me to give her spin on the matter is Times columnist Robin Abcarian. Hello, Robin.
Hey, Ann, how are you?
Good. Now, since you're a columnist, you're allowed to opine. So tell me, what is this about? Is he, to be serious, I don't know whether one should laugh or cry. Is this a case of him being a sex addict or a masochist?
I don't know if we can know clinically whether there's a diagnosis here or not, but clearly the guy has a compulsion. I mean, he was caught 2 years ago. He lied about what he had done. He finally came clean. He resigned his seat. And then it turns out a year later, he starts a similar relationship with yet another woman online. So something's going on with this guy that is not, totally normal, I would say. What's going to be interesting, of course, is whether voters buy his remorse this time around or reject it.
Now, should he resign? Should he withdraw, rather? I mean, when is enough enough?
I think that's really an interesting question. I'm sure that there's a lot of controversy about that, but ultimately I think no matter what he does, it's going to be up to the voters to decide whether this behavior disqualifies him or not. And certainly his wife has already said she stands by him, she supports him. I mean, she's really the primary victim in all this, I think. So whether he withdraws or not is really going to be up to them and the political landscape and the donor landscape and how he sees his political future after this. But he's been rehearsing for this moment his whole political career. He's always wanted to be mayor of New York. So the idea that he would throw it away with a second sexting scandal, I think probably, is anathema to him, the thought of resigning.
Now, you've mentioned the fact that it's up to voters. Now, Americans in the past have been very forgiving of politicians who have found themselves in this position.
Yeah, you look at somebody like a Mark Sanford, the former governor of South Carolina, who just became a new congressman there after having his Appalachian Trail moment. But the fact of the matter was Sanford really abjectly apologized to the voters very quickly into the first part of his scandal. What Weiner has done is much more problematic, and that is that he really lied about everything the first time around. And now the second time around, he's done it again and has sort of failed to fully embrace the nature of his transgressions. So I think that voters are ticked off. They're feeling kind of, okay, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. He really, I think, has dug himself into a hole that's going to be a lot harder to climb out of because he just hasn't been able to stand in front of people and say, man, did I mess up? Please forgive me.
No, but as you say, in the end, it may well boil down to the fact that his wife has forgiven him.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, Robin. I mean, here she is, she's an intellect, she's independent.
She is Hillary Clinton's body woman, as we call it, her chief of staff when she travels and so on. So here's Robin Abcarian, who became a White House intern probably almost 20 years ago and has grown up in the political landscape watching how a woman, i.e. Hillary Clinton, handles the sexual misbehavior of her very famous husband. So her role model is of a woman who sticks it out and stays because they have a higher, better goal, which is politics and their idealism and their ideology. Okay, so it's not that big of a surprise that basing her behavior on what Hillary Clinton has done, she's decided to stick it out. The fact of the matter is, though, her marriage is only 3 years old. It's not like she's, had a whole history with this guy and they've, been working toward these goals together for decades. So, more power to her. She has looked at the pros and cons and decided to stay. But that's a completely different matter from what the voters are going to say or do.
And Robin, is there something that we can learn from this? Where does it go from here?
Okay, I would say we could learn that if you have political aspirations, don't send pictures of your genitalia to strangers and engage in phone sex with them. I mean, just as a basic kind of first rule. Second of all, if you're caught, fess up, don't lie. And third of all, don't do it again after people have already allowed you to kind of move on and declare your intention for the next political office. He's just mishandled everything from the get-go, I think.
Well, this has been intriguing, certainly, and we'll continue to read your column. For more on this and other stories, please go to latimes.com and please visit Robin's column.